Lance was a gift, difficult and unpredictable. He did everything I told him not to do. Yet being with him was usually such great fun that I'd forget that he was a master of mischief. His interests were many and varied, and his enthusiasm he brought to each was contagious. Explaining him is like trying to capture the will-o'-the-wisp. Lance, to me and to many of his friends, knew more about pop culture than anybody. He practically invented it. And we had so many photographs of Lance in various interchange with pop culture that when Christopher Makos said we should do a book about Lance, I said, I've got all the photos, let's go. Christopher and Lance met by accident, actually, early 70s, I believe. And as a result, we have a very close family. And Lance introduced us to Christopher. And Christopher had a car. And we always glommed on to anybody in New York who had a car. And so we would go out to the island, and we drove around a lot with Christopher. And we had a special admiration for his photography and for his ability to see things in the way that he does. And he is an artist, and I think that reflects in this book too. Lance, in I think around 1963 or 64, when Lance was like 12 or 13 years old, he read about Andy Warhol. And he started writing him letters, and he started phoning him.
And came to New York and joined what's called the Underground. It was reported that when he was a teenager, he dyed his hair silver in imitation of his hero, Andy Warhol. In recent interviews, he's been amazingly frank about all kinds of things, and he's certainly not shy. And he's sitting right here, Lance Loud. Hello, Lance.
Hi.
Andy actually phoned him back one night about 3 o'clock in the morning. The phone rang, and this voice said, "Is Lance there?" And I thought, who is this? And I asked him, and he said, it's Andy Warhol. And I went and got Lance up, and he talked to Andy at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they became friends. And Andy thought he had a great rock and roll band. He thought Mumps was the best band. Well, one would be omnivorous, because he just loved everything about the world except for disco. He hated disco, and that was a disco age. There were discos on every corner in New York then, but he loved rock and roll, and he loved classical music. You know, those people who did those costumes have no idea what that was all about. It was, that era was called the New Wave era. Punk was an English institution, and it came over here and lasted about 2 minutes. But, you know, there were so many great little rock and roll bands that played at CBGBs, and Lance's was one of them, Mumps. And Patti Smith got started there, Blondie, Richard Hell's Television, and Tom Verlaine, and Jane County, Mink DeVille, all those people got started there. And there's none of that in that exhibition. It's just all 21st century fine costume designers, brilliant people, but they have no imagination when it comes to that kind of clothing. And it did not pass my who cares test.
My mother's a great person. I really like her a lot.
When in the episode where she came to visit you for the first time and see the scene you were living in New York, you would say you were hoping that she would.
Well,
get you out of it?
I had actually wanted her to take me and put me in a little apartment of my own. I'd become a bus boy with Flash and something like that. Really retire into the masses. I would have liked to do that.
You're serious now?
It's changed.
Are you serious? Or,
I'm really serious.
Okay.
I think it will demystify that era in New York and in perhaps the entire world. It tells you just as much about what was happening in the world at that time, who the people were, what they did, because Lance had this incredible desire to know everything, and it reflects in this book.
Are you saying there, though, that you hope for something from your mother, maybe that you would have gotten if the thing hadn't been being filmed at the time and been on television, but that because it was on television, you behaved in a certain way and maybe she behaved in a certain way, that didn't allow your life to go on the way it might have if
no, I don't think that, basically. I think that maybe she would have been left in the dark about a lot more things.
Would that be good or bad?
In a way, it would be good, but I mean, I don't want her to grow up with too many illusions. I mean, they've cast a totally different set of illusions during the film, but one thing that's been made clear to her now, even though she still denies it, is that I am 21, and I'm not only Lance Loud, son of Blondie Pat and Bill Loud, but I'm more or less 21 years old and a person.
Yeah.
And now I'm sort of I'm allowed to feel and react the way I want to react, and not the way I'm supposed to react in front of customers. Things.
Everyone should buy this book, published by Glitterati Incorporated and created by Christopher Makos and myself. It is a wonderful book about a time that's gone, but this revives it. It's very vital and lively. And it really, it explains not only Lance, but the time that he lived in.